All right, here we are, Peg City Sound Off on a Tuesday night. This may be the first Tuesday night show that I've done, but I would have done it on any night with the guest we have tonight. I don't even. I usually do introductions. I don't know if you need an introduction, but I'm going to do the introduction anyway. So why don't you tell the people who are going to be watching who you are?
My name is Rylie Saunders. I'm a music lover from Winnipeg, Manitoba, and I'm super stoked to be here on the first Tuesday night ever on the Peg City Soundoff.
Awesome. So Riley, you did your little intro there. Now, I kind of want to do an intro for you as well, because when people tune into this, I want them to kind of know my story, but my story starts with your story. Um, Years back, I say years like we're not dating myself, but um, we talked before we went live. My intro to Winnipeg music. I'm not from Winnipeg. I grew up 2 hours from here, but I moved here 20 years ago. But my intro to Winnipeg music started when you were doing the live at the Roslyn, and I was introduced to so many cool bands. Then one that will always stand out to me is going to be the Ronnie Ladderbrook episode,
Yeah.
because I thought, who is this guy? Who's this guitar wizard? You look up to all the guitar heroes, and then all of a sudden there's this guy in Winnipeg who's just shredding, and I will never forget seeing that. But Live at the Roslyn is kind of what started for me, and then obviously, I watched Live at the Roslyn. I kind of got involved with listening to some local music, but never took the deep dive into it until realistically it was last year when I really took the deep dive in. But I kind of want to get you on here just to talk about Manitoba music. And I've said many times on this show that I would challenge any province, any city, toe to toe, our local music scene versus theirs. And I think it's a no contest. What can you say about Live with the Roslyn? How did that come about? And what's the aftermath of it?
Well, first and foremost, Winnipeg, Manitoba is the music capital of Canada. And I think we all know that. Even when you travel around the world, you try to find a live music scene like similar to what we have, and you just can't really find it. But really, that's where like Live at the Roslyn came from. It was just really an idea that I dreamed up. It was at the infancy of Facebook Live. I would start to see people going live on Facebook, and I was like, "What is this live?" And I was like, "This is them right now." And like it's funny to say, but it now everyone goes live all the time. But it was like, why would I want to watch them right now? Do it like people would be at a party or doing whatever they're doing, and I was like, this is weird. But then my brain started spinning, and I had this sweet place in the Roslyn, and I had all this great group of friends of talented musicians who we'd be sitting there playing music all night in the Roslyn, and like they'd be passing around an acoustic guitar, and I'd be blown away by how great these guys are. Bobby DeJarlis, Kevin Hogg, Jamie Buckborough were three of the first ones. Scott Miller, Matt Zellick, all these guys, and I was like, holy! I can't believe how talented the city is. And you know when you're like sitting around with your friends and people are playing music, and you think to yourself, everyone needs to see this. We should turn a camera on. Basically, these are how the wheels were spinning in my brain. It's the way my brain's always working. I'm thinking we should turn a camera on right now. You know, you're all drunk and everything. You're just like, everyone needs to see this right now. Then you're like, it's 6 in the morning. Maybe let's not do that. But it was kind of twofold. The fact that we were doing it at 6 in the morning and we were getting no noise complaints in the Roslyn, I was like, this is interesting. No noise complaints. That was a very interesting thing. So we're performing, playing music, my mind's spinning, and I'm looking at Facebook Live. And then I started to think of, okay, there's Facebook events, there's Facebook Live. What if I just create a digital venue where it would be a virtual concert where people watch from the comfort of their own home? I just turn a camera on in the Roslyn, like I always wanted to do, and everyone at home can see what I'm seeing while I'm sitting on this couch right here. And it was like I always joke around. It was like almost like a selfish thing. It's like I want all the best musicians playing right here, right in front of me. And you know the idea just kept going, and I kept telling my friends these ideas. And I would write them in a book. I just wrote everything down. I always kind of say it's like when you want to come up with something, write down like 100 bad ideas, but I guarantee you're going to have some good ideas in there. Maybe not 100, but 10 bad ideas. And then every once in a while, you're going to have a good one. I would just keep saying this at parties with people. I would be hanging out with all these musicians and I'd be like, here's my ideas. Here's my ideas. And all of a sudden, my buddy Scott Miller was just like, "Holy shit, Riley, that's a really good idea." And the idea was the virtual concerts where we go live, and it was only with an iPhone too. It was an iPhone 6. It was that you were only able to go vertical on your cell phone with Facebook Live right at the start. It was only vertical. They didn't let you go horizontal. I practiced all week by myself. I just went Facebook Live that only I could see, and I just did all this practice. I just kept like going around the room, and I just did all this sound checking. And then my buddy Kevin Ripe lived with me too, and he was doing it with us. And I would just pick up a guitar and strum around. Then we'd watch the Facebook Live, and I would just envision it. Okay, what will it be like with a band here? So the plan was the bands were all going to do acoustic music, right? Because we're in a freaking apartment. You can't have full bands playing in an apartment, as everyone told me for the next 4 years. And my buddies show up. Dick Lizard and the Komodos are going to be the first band. Scott Miller was the one who lit the fire under my ass. So always shout out to Scott Miller. But he's like, November 2nd, Dick Lizard, the Komodos. He's like, do it 8 p.m. on a Wednesday because nobody has anything better to do at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday. And Dick Lizard and the Komodos show up. They show up with microphones, guitar amps, and a full drum set. And me and Kevin are sitting there like, you guys have a full drum set? You guys have guitar amps? Like, it's supposed to be acoustic. And they're like, no, 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 it'll be tempered. Don't worry. And we're just like, okay. So we just think it's just going to be us and our friends watching, and kind of like, I won't go into too much more detail. I'll let you ask questions. But long story short, we ended up doing this every single Wednesday for 6 straight months. The first season was 27 episodes. It went so good in that first week with the drum set, and we got no noise complaint. We were just like, it's that whole adage, like, don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness. So we were just like, we're not going to ask if we're able to do this. We're just going to keep doing this every single Wednesday at 8 p.m. and just see what happens and see if we get a noise complaint. And we made it pretty far down. But yeah, it kind of just happened organically, and it was all for love. It was all for fun, and it was on an iPhone 6. It was just click, go live, and have the bands play for people like you and me to just watch from home, because I thought everyone needs to see them. I'm a promoter, and I just wanted the world to see these amazing musicians that we have in Winnipeg.
That's amazing. I think one of the things that one of the biggest questions, and you said it a couple times, is how did you never get a complaint?
Well,
It's
hey,
just
I
wild.
can't say that we never got a complaint. When we had Soul Hounds on, Ian on drums has this humongous drum set, and basically, like, at that point, we gave up on the acoustic thing. We were just like, everyone was supposed to play acoustic, and we were just like, you know what? Let them bring their amps, let them bring their drums. So Soul Hounds was a band in the first season we really wanted to get, and we were just like, you know what? Just bring it. Like, and we started plugging in microphones and everything, right? So we wouldn't have been able to do the full amps and full drums if we were using the iPhone. But by episode 6, we started using microphones. We started adding team members and everything, and we had a sound guy, Morgan Coates, at the time. And anyway, it was like it took about till episode like 15. Around that, we got a noise complaint. We get like a knock. Or no, sorry. At the Soul Hounds episode, we get a noise complaint. It's a letter that is a noise complaint from the building across the street. The building across the street gave a noise complaint to like Globe Properties or whatever the heck they were called. And so the guy who gave it to us was our live-in manager. He knew we were doing the show, and he was like, you know what? Don't worry about it. I have to give you this note that you guys are good. And then we ended up getting like maybe another noise complaint or two. But that guy, Oscar and Pat in the Roslyn, they were amazing. They had our back, and they let us do it. And you know what's funny is that it was really cold in the Roslyn every winter, and we were just like, you know what? We could complain. However, we're having full fucking bands playing in our living room. We're not going to complain. We're going to live with the cold around here.
Absolutely. It looks so cool. It's just
Yeah, it was
amazing.
a lot of fun.
Matt chimed in here and says we are all village idiots, of course, which kind of leads me to the next thing. Let's talk about the village idiots. Let's talk about your team you had all together there, and you guys did some big things. I know you went out west a couple times. I believe there was an award out there. Why
Yeah.
don't you tell me about the village idiots? I don't know a lot. I know of the village idiots. I know what kind of what the drive was all about, but give us kind of the deep end of Village Idiots. How did that come about? And just a little bit of info.
So basically, Kevin Ripe and myself were living in the Roslyn, and we kind of started the company together. And then at that time, it was just him and I. And I saw Joey Senf at the front row at a Skid or a Sebastian Bach and Buck Cherry show, and I was like, man, I see that girl at the front row at shows with her camera all the time. And I think we were Facebook friends at the time. And I was just like, you know what? After the first episode, we should get some pictures. And that girl seems really cool. So I'm just gonna reach out. I just reached out to Joey. I was like, hey, this is who we are. This is what we're doing. We're gonna have bands play in our living room. There's no pay. We just want you to come take pictures for free and just hang out and have fun. And I had never met her. And Joey's just sitting there like, yeah, that sounds great. So Joey Sets joins our team. And then my buddy Mike Osakoya, I used to work with at Birchwood Chevrolet. And I randomly sat beside him at a hockey game after the first episode. And he was like, man, I saw what you guys did on Facebook Live there. And he's like, that was really cool. And it was funny. Second episode, Joey couldn't show up. It was her first episode ever, but she had some issue at home. And I was like, I'm just going to message Mike Osakoya and see if he wants to come take photos. So next thing you knew, we had two photographers. We had Joey Senf and we had Mike Osakoya. We weren't even using like multiple cameras. They just like did their own thing in the room. So our team all of a sudden was me, Kevin, Mike Osakoya, Joey. And then Morgan Coates was there by the third episode. He's like, why are you guys doing this on a cell phone? He's like, he's the sound guy. He's like, you guys, you can set up microphones and feed it through third-party software. And we're like, we have no idea what we're doing. We're just clicking go live. We have an idea and we have a love for music and we're having fun. And he's like, okay, how about I join the team and I start doing the audio? So that's why you see by episode 6, 7, we started using like a webcam and then microphones, and then the audio all of a sudden picked up a lot. And then by episode 2, or sorry, season 2 is when we started using the switchers. So we had good cameras and switchers, and the quality just kept getting better every episode all the way into season 4. And we had Adam Jaman like join the team for lights. And then by season 3, we had Kevin Moretz join the team to do behind the scenes. So we created a secondary series, which was a behind the scenes docu-series called Life at the Roslyn. And Kevin Moretz, who is so awesome at what he does from Blue Moon Media, just started filming everything behind the scenes. And so our team ended up just like kind of from me creating the idea to being like, hey, Kevin, let's do this, to Joey, Mike, Atom, Morgan. And then we had Evan St. Cyr doing sound in season 3 when Morgan moved away. And then we had our buddy Derek Benjamin doing sound in season 4. So we've worked with a lot of awesome people. Our team ended up being 7 people for the production. And then our roommate Chev was always there to have some fun and do skits with us.
Awesome. That's great. It's really cool to hear how it all came together. I'm just gonna kind of dial back this chat for a second. And like I said when you came on, or before we came on, I said you see some people chatting in there. Obviously you got some big support here. Ronnie's in there, yeah. Matt, Jen,
Hey, Ronnie.
Deidre,
Hey, Matt. Hey, Jen.
Deidre,
Hey,
Deidre.
Deidre.
Rylie is such an amazing supporter of the live music scene. Eric Isfeld, actually, Isfeld, he kind of nailed it on the head here too, and absolutely love the way Rylie helps open the door for new bands at the Tap House. And you know what? I'm gonna side with Eric on this one, 100%. You you got us on the Thursday night Valley Narrow, of course. You got us on there, and right there, like we are so thankful for that, and we talk about that actually quite a bit within the band. That this all started with the Tapos. I didn't know if we were ready to go play in front of people, and we did it, and it
You
was
guys
such a
sounded great.
great. It was such a great night, and we started with the Tapos, and there was no better place for us to do our EP party but the Tapos. It had to happen there. So we are very thankful for what you did for us, and getting us out on that Thursday night, and we really haven't looked back now. So
Yeah.
so when Eric says that, there's some real true meaning to it. I'm sure there's so many bands that are very thankful for what the Tap House has done to help bands, up and coming bands, right?
Yeah, well, it's definitely like a big focus of mine. One of the toughest things is when bands are new, the question is how do they get on a stage? Like you need to network with other bands and you need to like meet people, go to jam nights and stuff like that. But oftentimes those new bands have no idea if they can bring people out. They have no idea. They don't have any good video of them performing. They don't have good photos. They don't have a website. They don't have a social media following. So when you're getting all these applications from bands, it's important to kind of filter through. And for me, that's kind of more the art of booking. Booking isn't just saying, "Hey, can I play on what days do you have open? Here, go for it." It's this is our band, and have a conversation with them and find out information. And when they're a new band, I take a little bit more extra effort and I have a conversation with them regarding on what booking managers typically need. I'll just say, this is what I need from you. These are, can you send me this? Can you send me that? Can you send me that? Have you guys ever played before? How many people do you think you can bring out? Do you want to have a night of your own, or do you envision yourself opening for someone else? And I get great pride for sure much more out of helping new bands out take that next step. And I think that's a lot of fun, really helping those younger bands out.
Absolutely. And yeah, Thursday nights are great. I'm going to try my best to be a regular and at least catch one band on Thursday nights. Thursday nights are a little tough. I am in the
Yeah.
car dealership. I'm sure. Well, you used to be in the car dealership. Going to work on a Friday after a late night sometimes a little rough. But I was there last weekend. I saw the Lovers. A couple of great musicians in there. I went and checked them out, and I think it's going to be a thing for me to go Thursdays and see some bands. I saw the band the Soundoff, who I never heard before, and then I saw a little promo about them. They had recorded a song, and then I saw they were playing. So I went down there on a Thursday and saw them, and now we got there is a show booked with Valley Narrow and the Soundoff coming a
Yeah.
little later on in the year. But anyway, it's such a cool thing to go there and see some bands that you've never heard before, and some of them, it's great. All the bands are great, um, and the Winnipeg scene's got a real rich future with what's out there and with
Yeah,
what's
for
already
sure.
out there too. So
Yeah, and what's great is that I get all these applications of these new bands, and it's typically like if I'm focused on Fridays and Saturdays, I get it. Every band wants to play on a Friday and Saturday, but there's too many like options, and you need a higher crowd on a Friday Saturday as a bar, right? The Osborne Tap House needs to get more sales out of Fridays than Saturdays, so it's hard to book unknown new bands. But then you get in this cycle where these new bands have nowhere to play. So for me, that's where the new music nights kind of came out. I said, you know what? I'm not going to overthink who I book. I'm not going to, you know what? I'm just going to book you guys. I'm going to put three bands together and I'm going to book a bunch of them and show me what you got. Show the venue what you got. Bring the crowd out. And, or at least it's like get an opportunity for people to see you, get an opportunity to play, right? Because it's, you need some experience in it. There's no doubt. Everybody needs to start somewhere. And it's really hard to start on a busier night or on a Friday or Saturday in particular.
mhm, for sure, right? Kind of next thing I got here actually kind of reflected on the Tapos. You also are you doing the bookings for the Riverside as well?
No,
No,
not
you
for
don't do the
Riverside.
Riverside. I don't know
No,
why someone
I
told
do.
me you did the Riverside.
No, I booked some
Hmm.
stuff for Alt Hotel. So Alt Hotel does some acoustic artists, like three to
Yeah.
four per month. And it's just that I do some stuff for McPhillips Casino, but really my focus for booking is Osborne Tapos, and then the Village Idiot still puts some stuff on. So we just did Festival de Voyageur. I'll do like the odd show at Times Changed. We did what do they call it? Times Change Breakout Fest last year.
Okay. Yeah.
Hopefully we do another one of those. We're going to be working with Osborne Biz. I'm on the Osborne board of directors, Osborne Village board of directors. So I help with putting on the events here in Osborne Village. We're doing I can actually kind of say here, we're doing a new festival in Osborne Village, June 27th and June 28th. So it's going to be in a multiple venue free music festival for everyone. And that's kind of like, this is cats out the bag right now because that hasn't actually been announced. But you'll find out a lot more information on that. We're teaming up with some really cool people and it's going to be a lot of fun.
That is excellent to hear. Um, so Osborne's going to be busy in a couple
Osborne will
weeks.
be busy.
There,
Yeah,
yeah,
and my
there's some
focus,
stuff
my
coming up.
focus is Osborne Tapos. So Osborne Tapos, I put on 3 events per week plus an open mic. So I book
Hmm.
4 events per week. It's 9 bands per week plus an open mic with a rotating open mic host every week. So that's what I do every week.
That's awesome. Yeah, I noticed. Um, Deidre did last week, I
Yeah,
believe, and then this week
yeah.
was Jane. Yeah,
Tonight is Jane. Yeah,
Jane.
tonight
Yeah.
is
Oh, yeah. It's
Jane.
tonight.
Next
Yeah,
week
it's
is
Tuesday.
Jesse Christian, and the week after that we have Jared Adams, and then Joshua Davis Richards. So we're gonna have just kind of a rotating amount. And that's another thing. The open mics. I can't stress enough for the bands that are trying to network and trying to get into the music scene. Go to open mics and go to jam nights. That's how you meet people. That's how you network. That's how you can join bands if you don't have a band. It creates a scene in itself. And Osborne Tap, we used to do an open mic, the Village Idiots, every single week. Kevin Hogg used to host it. Then when he moved away, we had different hosts every week. But what I really like there is there's these young artists that they get a 30-minute feature spot to start the night before the open mic. And these are artists oftentimes who don't have bands. Jared Adams does, but some don't, and Deidre. But it's really cool just to give them an opportunity, give them a stage. And again, it's practice. Come out there and practice your songs and meet people and shed those nerves, any anxiety you might have getting in front of playing in front of people. Open mics are great for that, and I've always loved it. It's the best way for somebody who's just trying to get into a community. Go join the community. There's open mics every week at all the different venues. Toad does Monday, we do Tuesday. Park Alleys does Wednesday, and those are three great places. You can also do it at the George in Transcona. I think they do Tuesdays. And jam nights, you can do the Toad on Thursdays. You can do the George on Wednesdays. In various places. They're just great places to get you started.
Excellent. So, when we talked about you coming on here, hopefully this is part one of one of two. Hopefully two comes later on around the Soundoff Festival, which
Yeah.
looking forward to. There's some great bands, and of course another great thing for that festival is to be at the tap house as well with the doors open. And Evan Chandler kind of painted the picture one night saying the doors open, the sun's out, the cold beers are going, 9 bands, you got music all day. It's gonna be fantastic. So yeah, really looking forward to being at the tap house more. And I mean, it's just down the street from me. It's a 2-minute drive, so I'm quite happy about it. So that's that festival, the way that I took a look at booking those bands, I probably had 30 bands reach out to me for it. The problem was I already had the 9 bands I wanted. And there was no knock on anyone. But I already had the bands picked out before before I even announced it. I kind of knew what was going to happen. But the bands that I took, I kind of referred to them as the Tap House bands. They're bands that bands and members that I met at the Tap House or seen at the Tap House. And I keep going back to this night with Ash and the Arsonist, and I've talked about it many times on here, that the crowd that night everyone had Callum from Sunbreather, Ronnie Ladderbrook was there, obviously all the members of Ash the Artist was there, Evan was there, Luke Clement was there. It was just such a big night. Jen obviously was there. It was just such a big night for seeing people, and that was probably the day before I confirmed that I was going to do this. And it was just kind of looking around and seeing everyone. So it's kind of the Tapos bands, but where I'm going with this is talking about Winnipeg music in general, Manitoba music. There's some great bands all over the place. Matt Corey out of Brandon. I absolutely love Matt Corey, but not a Winnipeg guy, but you can't see him every night at the Tap House. But when he does come in, it's fantastic to see him. But just kind of talking about Winnipeg bands, there's so many great bands out there. Who are some bands that maybe you could throw a little a light to here?
That's like one of the hardest questions ever for me to answer. It's like I'll like list off like 10 bands and I'll probably forget my favorite band. But it's like the ones that really like that I first saw in Winnipeg, like in the recent years, like within the last 10 years, that blew me away were Attica Riots and the Revival, which later became Bright Righteous and Invisible Friends. I also love my buddy Jamie Buckborough and his band, the Honey Sliders and Jivetown. But like when I started doing live at the Roslyn, it opened the door to so many different bands. It's impossible for me to choose. It's like a parent trying to choose their favorite child at this point. And I don't see myself as a freaking parent per se, but it's so hard for me. Like I love William Prince. I love Del Barber. I love Wonder. There's their shirt right there. Like it's like I love Begonia. I love it's like when you look at the Peg City Sound Off, I love all those bands. I have a constant the rumors are true. The only thing I listen to is local music. It's about 99% local music and maybe some Guns N' Roses here and there. But it's like my playlist is like always the newest songs being released by Manitoba artists, and it's a constant. My every day I'm listening to Manitoba artists all day, every day. And so I've just like developed these favorites over time. Del Barber just had his last show ever. And he's kind of retiring from the music scene, and he's amazing. And I was never into country and folk at all. At all. Then live at the Roslyn, you're sitting there. And when you have like the Small Glories play in front of you, or William Prince, or Slow Leaves, or Del Barber, it's mind blowing how talented they are. Somebody just having an acoustic guitar that can make all the hair stand on your neck. It's so amazing. And yeah, we have never ending bands here in Winnipeg. It's impossible. I named a bunch for you, but it's really hard to name them.
Yeah, it's hard to name all your favorites, and I'm the same way too, right? Where I'm not nearly as knowledgeable with the local bands, but Thomas Henry here just showed it out. The Haleys here, that's another band that they're just
Yeah,
fantastic
like
too,
the
right?
Haleys are so sweet. And like the best part about like live at the Roslyn was the fact that I got to watch all these bands up close and personal and develop a personal relationship with them behind the scenes. And then literally on this couch, I sat here and the band was like 4 feet from me. Like they were right in front of me as I talked to them on the screen, like in between songs. But you really like when you see JD Edwards band up close and personal, holy, JD Edwards is just like one of the most amazing artists. And you think to yourself, how is this guy from Winnipeg, Manitoba, not huge in the world right now? And he did pretty well with his duo, the Small Glories. They got pretty big internationally. And Curtis Newton, like a guy like Curtis Newton,
Mm.
Franny Klein, like there's all these like artists that like when you get to work up close and personal, and you be in the room with them and you feel their energy and you see what they're like behind the scenes, they got to get in front of that camera and perform. And Live at the Roslyn was such a cool way of doing it. The biggest thing for Live at the Roslyn for me was I wanted everyone in the world to know these bands, and everyone is. Well, we live in this world where everyone's just looking at their phone, and all I thought was I just want to put these bands on their phone. Like you're gonna scroll by those bands, and you're gonna have to click on it because so many people are gonna share it. You're gonna see it all over your feed, and that's kind of what we did, but it was so cool finding bands and young bands out right now like Jay Spodner, The Love Letters, Kingsway. I love those three bands. Neighbor Andy, if people don't know Neighbor Andy, these are bands, and the Haleys are another one. These are bands post Live at the Roslyn because COVID derailed Live at the Roslyn. It's been like 4 or 5 years now. There's all these new bands that I'm finding that make me really want to do another Live at the Roslyn because, like, I want the world to know these bands. Again, it's like, it's weird. It's like, selfishly, I want to sit on a couch and have a band play in front of me. But it's really like I get so excited about these bands. I think the world needs to know them. Obviously, Northern Royals and Exo Murda. Northern Royals were supposed to play Live at the Roslyn season 4, and COVID derailed their opportunity. So it was always like, oh damn. There's so many bands that I still want to feature in some way, but it's like, it's just kind of like a thing of the past.
Mm-hmm. Just kind of diving back into these comments, but yeah, lots of people talking about Manitoba music. Kingsway is outstanding. Yeah, and then there's jeez, that's my brother commented there. But yeah, so that's actually another thing. Just kind of going back to our EP release, we had a lot of people there that had never been to the tap house, and that came out. We had people fly in from, I believe, Calgary. I had some family who never been there, and it's just one of those things where, unfortunately, Pure Entry had to cut their set short due to some health issue, but then 5 more miles goes up there and completely blows everyone out of the water. Right? It's
Yeah, they're
you
great
know,
too.
it was fantastic. My friend's band went up there first. That was their first show they ever played, and I wanted them involved because they're my old bandmates and wanted them to play. And they went up there and were fantastic. But yeah, 5 more miles. It was great to see them at the tap house, and I think they got a lot of new fans by people who hadn't been there. And that's one of the things is you go there on a winter night, and if it's your first time there, sure, the atmosphere is great in there. Everyone's great. I find it very respectful in there. Anytime I've been there, I've been treated great. I went, well, last Thursday, it was my first oh, I'm a local celebrity. Everyone's recognizing me, right? Shaking people's hands and stuff. So I'm like, oh, cool. But
That's great.
it's one of those things that you go there then. But my introduction to the tap house was in the middle of like last summer.
Yeah.
It was when I was working doing the Boneyard podcast, and I went and I met some great people. I met Ruth Morris and Geminos, and but the doors were open, and oh my god, what a place!
I
Like
love that. I
that's where you
love the
got to
doors
be.
open.
Isn't it
Yeah,
such a it's such a cool thing?
and it's so cool that like it's such a busy strip and the doors open, everyone sees the party, everyone
Yeah.
hears the band. Like all you see is a sea of people, and then it just drives so much more walk-in traffic. It's a really big advantage to have the doors open. And shout out to Derek Collins, the owner of the tap house. Like he put a lot of work into it, right? Like it used to be the Toad, and you can't remotely recognize the Toad. It's a dramatically different venue.
Hmm.
And the him every time he would have an idea, he's a doer. He's somebody that just gets things done. And it was his idea to open those doors up and everything, and it's a huge help. I really like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Just kind of diving back in the music. I don't want to take up your whole night here, but I'm gonna ask you for a couple more bands. But I want you to give some bands that maybe need a bit of recognition. Who are some new bands out there that you've seen recently that maybe people need to check out?
Well, I definitely like also ran Sleepless, for sure like Kingsway, Love Letters, Neighbor Andy, and Jace Bodner. I really like Ben Notes. Ben Notes is a really great young artist. Who else we got? Uh,
I put you on the spot.
Trying to think of like all new. Yeah, I mean, hey, there's quite a bit that I just named right there. Sandman. Sandman is another really good one.
Hmm,
Um, yeah, he's a really good young artist. Ben Notes is not just to say his name again. Check him out. Every single tune that he has come out, like he's only like 21, 22 years old. He's really good. Jane Fuentes just released a new single that's really good. Yeah, there's quite a bit
cool,
coming out. The Rangers is this new artist that I see at Tap House sometimes, and he's got a cool vibe to him, to
cool,
them. Yeah, they're really cool.
awesome. Yeah, there's just so much. Um, Sorry, kind of caught my eye for a second on something. You know, it's just such a big community in a small city, right? And you connect with one person, and there's a good chance that that person connects you with someone else, and that's kind of my story with all this. I've met a couple of people off the Boneyard podcast, and I honestly, when I reached out to some of the bands, I had no clue who they really were. I just found some bands that were posting stuff on social media and seen, oh, this band's playing there, this band's playing there, and then the booker for them just reached out to people, and I met so many great people through there that now when I go out and I see them around, and a lot of these are turning to probably going to be lifelong friends, right? And it's just such a great community. There's so much support in it. Everyone's supporting each other. Yeah, there's just not much more you can say about Winnipeg and what it means to the music, right? And like I
Yeah,
said, I would challenge any city in Canada, put your best against our best, and yeah, we'll take it all day.
it's definitely like what I kind of make clear to everybody. We're very spoiled, and I don't think we necessarily realize it sometimes, but it's gotten to a point like nothing against these bigger bands, but when you're paying 200, 300, 500, $600 to go see these shows at MTS Center at $14 beers and everything, at some point I started looking at that saying, geez, I was going to a lot of those shows, and I'm like, that costs a lot of money. But we're looking at $10, $15, $20 to see these awesome bands up close and personal, and you're like, wow, these bands are actually freaking awesome. And we're very spoiled. Like, in South Osborne, you got Park Alleys, you got Park Theater, you got now Side Stage right beside there. We have Osborne Village, we have the Toad right here. Even like the Legion here in Osborne Village always has bands. It must be the place is starting to have bands. And when you look at like Times Changed is a such an amazing venue for so many years. They've been putting on awesome shows, and they do Blue Note Park in the summer. You could do, the Beer Can in the summer right over here. You have Public Domain, which is beside the old Goodwill. You have, of course, Bulldog. You have King's Head, and think of like all the venues that have cover bands around Winnipeg.
Hmm.
Like any given night, there's probably like I don't even know. It's probably 20, like on a Friday, Saturday, you probably have 20 or 30 venues that are having cover bands all around Winnipeg. it's like there's so many options to see live music on any given night here in Winnipeg, and it's so awesome. And like I said, I travel the world a lot. I get out there a lot, and I try my hardest to find live music everywhere I go. And it's really hard to find anything comparable to Winnipeg. I actually, like, once I travel and I come back, I look forward to getting back and watching music because like I don't find live music like as good as what we have here. It's really hard to find it coincidentally when I'm there,
Yeah,
I
it's
guess.
crazy, eh? Yeah, you
Mhm.
just kind of calling you out here. You travel a lot. I appreciate you responding when you're traveling, though.
Well, my job is remote. I do everything remotely, so like everything that I do is basically on my phone. My whole job is that way. I live really close to Osborne Tap House right here, but from the start, I kind of said like, to him, to Derek, that like I don't physically need to be there for anything. My job is just 100% at like where I am with my phone, basically, right? That's my computer. So it's the key is that it doesn't matter where I am. I'm still doing my Osborne Tap House work. So everything is still being done. My like it's just like I'm instead of being in my condo here, I'm sitting in Rome, Italy. That's the way I look at it. And instead of being at the Osborne Tap House, I'm at some bar in Rome, Italy, and
Yeah,
maybe checking out the
exactly, right?
ruins and stuff like that. But I'm working the whole time. I go to South America this Sunday as well. So I'm gone away for another 2 weeks coming up right away.
There
Then
you
that's the
go.
last thing for summer though. Summer in Winnipeg is great. So it's like
Oh, for
I
sure.
love summer in Winnipeg. There's no need to go away during summer.
Exactly, eh? Yeah, it's great. And Osborne, just great area. Obviously looking forward to your festival coming up June 27th, 28th.
Yeah, June 27th, 28th.
That's
You'll see
awesome.
the announcement soon. It's going to be for like around Canada Day, Multiculturalism Day. We are going to
Hmm.
be teaming up with Osborne Village Biz, the Village Idiots, and Real Love Winnipeg. So Real Love Winnipeg is going to be awesome working with them, and they're going to be
Cool.
putting in a lot of work for this.
I know people are going to ask, do you have the bands lined up?
Not quite yet.
Not quite yet.
Right now,
Okay.
we are sending, we have a lot of bands tentatively, and Real Love Winnipeg is sending some messages out right now.
Excellent. Ah, that's
So we
great.
don't necessarily have like an open submission process. We're kind of just selecting the bands,
Hmm.
but I
Hmm.
think they might put out a submission process as well. But Real Love is taking the lead on this.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great. Yeah, looking forward to that. That is going to be a busy couple weeks with that
Yeah,
and and my festival due to the tap house. And then the weekend after, I believe, is like the punk fest at side stage.
yeah,
So
nice.
Winnipeg is in for some music this summer. So that's great. I'm gonna give you the final word here. Just kind of give me your final thoughts on the state of Winnipeg right now and state of Manitoba music. Um, what are you excited for?
Well, I'm just excited to be a part of this music community. I love everybody. We are all in this together. When it comes down to music, it's something that we all have in common. People accept you for who you are. You can go and be whatever person you are as long as you're good. Wear yourself on your shoulder. Be a good person. Be a good community member. Be good to your friends. Be good to your family. Be good to everybody you come into contact every day. And let's fill these venues with positive energy. Let's support these local artists and let's just have some fun. I'm super happy to be here, and it was a pleasure that you had me here, Joel.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know what? I said earlier on social media, I said one of my most anticipated guests, and I'm so glad you came on here. I personally and everyone else here, oh, Joe Carson just logged in. Everyone else here will say it with me, but we appreciate everything you do for Winnipeg, for music, for the community. Big thanks to you. Thanks to Derek at the Tap House, Tony at the Tap House. I love that guy.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So big thanks to you guys for all you're doing down there, and obviously looking forward to working with you in the future here. And we're gonna have a big summer. I'm looking forward to it. We'll catch you around.
Yeah, and also thanks a lot to all the bands and all the fans. Like none of this is without the bands. We owe them. I'll forever be in their debt, and we owe them a ton of gratitude. And to all the fans that go out there and fill these venues, it's very important. And your support to the venues and to the bands are very important. So thank you very much to everybody.
Awesome. Good talking to you. Thursday night, there was people talking about Thursday night. I'll be there. Come see me. Jen, Matt, I'll see you guys there. We'll have a great time. All right, Rylie. Thanks for coming on. We'll talk to you again.
Sounds good.
We'll
Bye,
see you
everyone.
soon.
See you, Joel.
Enjoy
Bye.
your vacay.
I will. Thanks.
Thanks.